Okay, hey everyone, Melissa here. I'm going to be talking about financial coaching today, going from poverty to having much more money. And I'm going to talk about how to do that. I had a guy today say, hey Melissa, what do you think? You're a financial coach or something? When you talk about what you've been through, you shouldn't be a financial coach. And, he started attacking me, my identity, my homeschooling, whether I should homeschool or not because of, just homeschooling without a lot of money. So you can do that and you can do that successfully. I have one son who was homeschooled good enough to go into the military and serve. And that's usually a higher score than a lot of kids need when you've homeschooled your kids. They need higher scores. So anyways, moving forward, should I be doing financial coaching is the question this guy has. Yeah, let's talk about $1,000 within an hour, less than an hour. So today I brought my son to the dentist and that can add up pretty quick. So about $500 there. Medicaid took care of that. Because right now I'm in a different situation with my work. I qualify, so I may not qualify later down the road once my work changes again. But yeah, that's $500, and the other $500 was my mistake because I actually procrastinated in this and I shouldn't have. But just being so busy knowing that this landlord is trying to sell the home and we're trying to look to where we want to move, the easy pass tolls was not on my priority list. And surprisingly, it adds up quick. I should have went and got an easy pass, but just being so busy working and really working hard with everything I do, I let that one slip, and that's usually not something I do, but that added up to a good $500 with all the $25 charge fees that they had put on that since I think it was due in August, and I let that one slide. I didn't open all my mail from them, so that's usually not me. So just for the asking, they took $500 basically off, and that is a big savings, and I'm so thankful. Just explaining the situation we're in with job loss and trying to move and everything, it was a one-time thing, and that was for the asking and humbling myself and just asking. So how do we do our finances, especially where a family decides to homeschool and you don't have that extra income, or you don't even have to homeschool? Say a mother just wants to stay home and she has chosen for whatever reason to stay home, whether it's to be with her children more or just for herself or just for her marriage. How do you do this? And the thing is, it is for everybody. If you live minimally, you can do this. And, my minimalist journey started with poverty because I didn't have to do this. I chose this. I did not have to be poor. I chose it. And when I say that I chose it is because I could have chose not to have children and go and work and have a career. As a matter of fact, when I was in college, I decided I didn't want college. I had graduated early from high school and took some career class. They had talked about making sure you know what you want to do, and I had no idea what I wanted to do. Who knows, when you're a junior in high school, what you want to do. So now this was on top of me already having a forced abortion and everything. I still graduated early. And how did I do it? I don't know. I did it on my own. I didn't really have any help. I had enough credits and did what I needed to do. So this thing was being offered and I went for the money, which was court reporting. That's what I thought I wanted to do. And as I was going to college and taking these classes, I already have a hearing loss, which I thought I could just overcome. And I'm sure I could have if I had support. I didn't have any support. And also I was working in a court reporting firm where I got to see hands-on what I would be doing after I graduated. And I didn't like it. It wasn't me. I was pretty down to earth. I was also immature at that time. even though people thought I was mature. There was just, things that I should have been taught before I worked there. But anyways, I was working there, and I really, a lot of lawyers who were snobby. You just, it's just the way it is when you get out there. You start learning stuff you didn't know. So I knew it wasn't for me. And then I just decided, that I would talk to one of the teachers, the head teachers, and so I chose not to stick with that, and I have no regrets. And later on, I had someone actually kind of indirectly say, if you go to college, you shouldn't waste your college time. And it would have been a waste of time for me to continue knowing I didn't want to do that. So that wasn't working for me, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to have kids, and it looked like I couldn't have kids. And I had thought I was being punished somehow by God, and I couldn't have kids. So I moved on, and I just thought, all right, then I'll try hairdressing school. So after I got married, I went right into that, and I graduated while I was pregnant with my firstborn son. So I graduated, and then once I had him, well, actually, after I graduated, there was a time that I could have gone into hairdressing, but being pregnant, I knew I wanted the best care possible. And for me, that was staying home. And I stayed home, and I knew if I qualified for the Medicaid, it would actually be cheaper for me to stay home. So when we talk about poverty, it's not all negative. It's not what you don't have. Like, oh, I don't have a job. It's what you do have. So I did have a chance to stay home. I had a chance to take good care of myself, to exercise, and give the child the best chance of having a healthy birth. So I did that. Everything was taken care of with Medicaid, doctors, everything. And then my placenta did separate when at birth they had, his birth, they had induced me. For some reason, I didn't feel him kicking, and rather than educating me and saying, and I didn't know anything then, sometimes they're not gonna kick as much as you think they should, and just go home, have a candy bar or something. The doctor, because I was anxious to have my firstborn, he did induce me, and that caused my placenta to separate. So they were now committed to inducing me, and I could have lost my firstborn. So to think back to that is kind of scary. So anyways, moving forward, I had my second one, my third one, boom, boom, boom. And, we still had financial stuff going on. I mean, that was a time that finances were good when we started off. And then the economy went down. So that was kind of difficult. The economy started hitting. And at the same time, my husband had cancer. So when he had cancer, he could not work. He had a couple surgeries, he couldn't work, and it was well over $25,000 for the care needed. Now, I remember adding things up, and I had completely lost track. The catastrophic illness program I had used as a resource that helped with just about everything. But this one office for Christmas had written us a Christmas card and said, Merry Christmas, $25,000 off, our bill. We're taking care of it, so to say. And that was a huge relief. So if I would have had a career up until then and not had kids, and his cancer hit, which you cannot ever predict something like that happening, there goes our savings. It would have been gone, and we would have had to start over. So along with that, we had a home birth, which was a lot cheaper right before his cancer. Well, one surgery, and then the home birth, and then the cancer. Had another surgery for that. So the home birthing was a lot more quality, and it was cheaper. So we went with that, and that was out of pocket. And then we had two more, and we were told we probably couldn't have any more kids. So that was really devastating to me, because I would have had even more if I could have. And moving forward, we were happy to live very, very cheaply. And we did have things all along happen. Whether we homeschooled or not, things still happen. We had water pipes break at one point because the duct tape no longer worked. That was something that needed to be taken care of. That was an expense. that could have cost us a lot, but luckily it did not. There was another situation where the water pipes just, something had happened at the main pipe, and we weren't having water for a few days. And I thought, well, once they fix it, we'll be okay. And what they did was they somehow didn't know that we weren't having water. And someone said to me, Melissa, why didn't you call us? I mean, why didn't you tell us? And I said, well, I just figured once it was fixed, it would be okay. So I can live on very little. It just is the way I am. It comes kind of natural. I can go without water. Another time we had a situation where the electric company actually shut us off because someone dropped the ball over there. I don't know who it was. We had set up a payment plan and they didn't come through. And so that had to be dealt with. And that was a situation we had family take advantage of and actually think I was not paying my bill and actually thought we should divorce because I'm not paying my bills, which was so far from the truth. I actually had another person say, hey, you know what? That does not sound like Melissa at all. She's not like that. And so she kind of defended me. But when you have family like that, they're really not your friend when they're acting like that. And so my husband and I had to deal with that. He came home one night and just was like, I want a divorce. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? So that really hurt our marriage. And he was pretty much, told that is, pinned in a corner and told that his wife, she was painted a certain way and this is the way she is. And so things luckily turned around there. And, money, they say, is the number one battle in a marriage. But luckily that was fine for us because we already had a strong foundation of growing up together. And then, let's see, finances always have been an issue. So after the cancer and after a lot of that stuff happened, we had to get rid of our trailer. And the whole thing was like falling apart. And so we had to go through that and what happened there. And on it goes. And even today with unexpected things pop up, whether it's a dentist appointment or whether, the landlord is, just pulling the rug out from under us, saying that he's going to sell a home and the economy is awful, or, the rental situation, the housing crunch is awful. There is always something. So no matter what happens in life, it doesn't mean that you should not have children. And this guy keeps coming at me with his attacks. And the thing is, he says, you ought to be building a career. And we obviously have seen that nothing really lasts in the career field. People who are saying, I'm not going to be vaccinated, have lost their retirement and stuff. There's nothing really to build on in life that's sure, except you do want to build on your faith. That is a sure thing. It doesn't ever change. God's word never changes. And the more we're building on our faith, the more our life comes together. And it's God who provides. A lot of times we look at financial advisors and they are missing a big part of the equation, and that is that God provides. And an example of that today is me just asking for help with the toll money. A 2-minute phone call, that's not really not that hard. And that's with praying that, God would turn this person's heart to give me a break. And so I have a lot of situations like that too, with having my kids. And like at one point we really didn't have much for Christmas, and I prayed about it. And then I had a lady down the road at that time, right after I prayed, call and say, Melissa, I have something for you. I walked over. It was $100 gift, and I went to the dollar store when my kids were little, and they had a big enough Christmas as kids, and their Christmases have always been really good. So just because someone's been through financial issues doesn't mean they can't help other people. And like I said before, Dave Ramsey is somebody who had financial situations, and now he helps millions of people with their money. So if you want things in life, if you want to have children, and you want to have a family, you can do that with a lot of hard work and resourcefulness and getting creative. And when others come along and want to attack you and say, you know, you shouldn't be having kids or you shouldn't be homeschooling if you don't have millions of dollars, nothing could be further from the truth. I think it's normal for most people to struggle. I know growing up, my family struggled. I know other families that struggled, and it's not until around the teen years that families usually start really establishing themselves and having things. And a lot of times at that time they upgrade, and teenagers still need you too. So anyways, moving forward, you know, we have more money now than ever. And even though I have taken a job change right now, in the future I have more work. So work comes and goes, and if you think about it, every single job I have done, I have enhanced my skills. And a matter of fact, I have some classes coming up to hone my skills even more, and I'm looking forward to that. So when we think of building a career, it's not just let me push family aside so I can have a career. Your family is actually your career. So when you forego having children and you know that you can only have them at a certain age, you are really hurting yourself. You do want to have children, and if that means you have some, you know, awful jobs on the side for a while to help out, you know I did, I wouldn't say they were awful because I don't mind working, but I had a newspaper route and I had other things that were not the dream job, but I did them to help out. And when you can take your smarts and apply it to being frugal with money or being creative and resourceful, there's really nothing you can't do. And so many times kids are better off when you do not buy them everything, and they have to learn to take care of themselves with wanting things and earning it, and that mom and dad are not going to just go buy them a car. They're not going to have everything. It makes a big difference in their character. So just to finish this up, this kind of goes along with the abortion movement that I've been talking about, and I'll be doing another video about the abortion movement. But it's really offending to think people are out there saying, you know, you shouldn't have kids. You shouldn't have kids. How would people like it if they said, you know, men are really sick of women and you shouldn't be allowed to live anymore? Or women are really sick of men, so you men shouldn't be allowed to live anymore. It's kind of the same mentality, and it's really awful to hear rotten people say, you shouldn't have kids. You shouldn't have, you know, you shouldn't have kids unless A, B, and C are taken care of, when actually they don't even consider the broader picture of D, E, F, G, H, all the way to Z. I mean, there is more than one way to think about things. You don't have to force other people to think like you do in order to have a family. You can get things done in many ways. And I remember someone once saying, you know, there's a million ways, or there's more than one way to basically skin a cat. And it sounds awful, but in that meaning, it means there's more than one way to do something.